Start with Boris, pal. You and many other people are saying, I think, that this number of letters that's needed to Sir Graham Brady, 54, that threshold, could be met very soon. Is that right?
Yes. All the indications I've got are that the threshold is likely to be met, or probably a 50-50 it'll be met early next week. And in that scenario, then, as you say, there has to be a vote of no confidence. And in that scenario, I think the reason that he will win a vote of no confidence is twofold, Jeremy. Firstly, what we call the payroll vote. There's over 100 people who are essentially ministers, assistant or deputy ministers, or parliamentary undersecretaries, all that stuff. And if there's a change of leader, many of those will lose their jobs. So that's a sort of banker. The other reason is that Boris's supporters are going around saying that if he goes, then Brexit will be undermined and potentially fatally undermined. And for many Brexiteers in the Conservative Party in Westminster, that that is absolutely fundamental. So,
well, not just to them, with respect to 52% of the British electorate, Rich.
Exactly, and I actually don't buy that. There are plenty of other potential candidates who I think would completely respect the direction of travel that the Prime Minister has taken Brexit. There's more to be done for sure on Northern Ireland, on fishing, on deregulating, on cutting taxes, all that stuff. We've got Brexit, but we haven't got a proper Brexit. We're not maximising the opportunity. But his supporters are going to use that as a reason to keep him in place. The question then is, if that happens, how does the country view this, where Tory MPs are propping up a known person who has, let's try and be fair and nice on this Jubilee weekend. He has a very interesting relationship with the truth.
Can I jump in for a sec, because we're mates? I hear this line thrown out repeatedly and I accept it. But you would have to admit, whether it's the Labour Party, the Liberal Democrats, the Reform Party, whatever party it is, the British people who gave him an 83-seat majority knew he has a strange relationship with the truth.
Not to the extent that we've seen. But yes, they knew he was a character and a personality. I don't think in December 19, when I canvassed on doors, people thought that he was he had a serial problem with the truth. But here's the real thing that I think many people forget. He stood in the House of Commons on a number of occasions and misled the House. He did not tell the truth.
Do you believe that was deliberate, or as he says that he wasn't aware? What's your take, Rich?
I think it's a strange combination between the two, actually. I think he just views that he is sort of... rules don't really apply to the Prime Minister. They never have to this individual, frankly, since he was at school. So... I just think that he just says anything. He's a great salesman, and you know what salesmen are like. They'll tell you anything in order to get the sale. That's the reality.
Tice, you were saying that if those Tory MPs support him, what does that say? Does that mean it changes the game for smaller parties at the next election?
Well, I certainly hope so. We all know that under first past the post, for small parties, it is difficult. But we want to shape it to influence. We want to put forward a radical tax-cutting, regulation-cutting agenda that means that actually you'll get higher growth, you'll get higher tax revenues, and you'll get higher wages for the least well off. The problem with what Sunak announced just recently is that it's essentially he's done completely the wrong thing, and he's creating a sort of a culture of dependency on the state. He's doing things that Jeremy Corbyn couldn't have dreamt of. And you can't tax your way out of this crisis, Jeremy. You've got to grow your way out of it. And the way you do that is you cut taxes, you make people responsible for their own spending decisions. And of course, significant help needs to be provided bluntly for everybody, given the cost of living crisis, but particularly for the least well off. But the way you do that is not just another handout, and then people expect another handout. You do it by cutting taxes hard, that on consumer goods. That in itself will reduce prices, that reduces inflation, that reduces the concerns, and you put money into people's pockets that way, rather than just, here's a handout on your energy bill.
What would you say to... Steve has sent this. Boris is, in my mind, playing a blinder. He's allowing a confidence vote before disastrous by-elections in June, knowing he'll be safe for 12 months.
And that's exactly right. But I come back to the point, how will the country feel about a group of Tory MPs that have kept in place someone with a very, very tenuous relationship with the truth, who has knowingly misled Parliament on more than one occasion? And therefore, what does it say about the standards of integrity, of principle? He changed the ministerial code just on a whim last week so that it basically wouldn't apply to him.
Do you believe...
This is dictatorial type behaviour.
Do you believe that he knew that he was lying to Parliament? Do you believe that he knew that he was breaking the law when somebody brought him a piece of cake? Do you think he is such a charlatan, such a dishonest man, that the truth about him is that he can't maintain that role because it's not right? Is that the depth of your anger towards Boris Johnson?
I believe that he will say anything to keep himself in post at the expense of anybody and everybody else. It is as simple as that.
Why did the British people keep falling for it then, Rich?
Because things have evolved a lot since December 19, point number one. Point number two is, let's not forget, the country was in utter political turmoil in 2019, and people were tired and fatigued with the whole Brexit thing, and the slogan was right, get Brexit done. And people voted for that. And people like Boris's his enthusiasm, his personality, his character, but people don't like someone, I believe, with such a tenuous relationship with the truth, which has got worse and worse since he's become Prime Minister.
And in terms of being out on the doorsteps, knocking on doors, speaking to the electorate, which is what this is all about, you've noticed a major shift in people's opinions. But, I mean, if he plays the political games that he's always played, we believe, he'll stay there for a few months, maybe even up to the next election. Do you think there's a part of the Tory party that thinks things are so bad with this cost of living and everything that's going on? Just leave him there and let him take the rap, because why would a new person want to take the rap of the next 2 years, to be fair?
No, that's not how they think. Power is everything. The idea that they're quite happy to lose the next election and let Labour pick up the pieces of the mess that they inherited, that's just not how people think. And I'm an optimist, Jeremy. I believe that someone else could come in and do the right thing and dramatically turn around the country's economic fortunes. And people vote with their pocket.
This is interesting. I've had 3 texts. Richard Tice spreading lies again. Boris didn't change the code. I don't agree with them at all. Richard Tice is a danger to Brexit and right-wing conservatism. There you are. Give it to Tice, man, on a bank holiday. Come on.
I'm sorry, it's just not the case. He absolutely did mislead Parliament. There's no question at all. And the reality is that if he stays, then I think the country, and what I'm hearing on the doors, day in, day out, is that people don't trust him, and people want to trust their leader, Jeremy. It's absolutely vital. Trust is so important. So, I think he's very damaged in that perspective. I think if he stays after a vote of no confidence, I think the Tory party will be even more damaged. But I think that is what actually will happen.
You think that there will be a vote, Richard, next week? You think there will definitely be a vote? You think that he will win it? And irrespective of that percentage number, because Peter was telling me yesterday when Theresa May got 60-70%, people started circling. You don't think that's going to happen? The big question is, who would go in and tell Boris to do one? There isn't anybody to tell him to do one, because he just won't listen. He'll just shut the door, won't he?
That's absolutely right. And I'm not certain the vote will be next week, but I think there will be a vote. I think it'll be soon, and I think he will win it. It's as simple as that. And so whoever walks through his door and says it's time to go, I think Boris will show them the door.
Apparently, according to Dave Levine, it's adorable on a bank holiday that we're wearing matching outfits. I don't know what's going on.
Oh dear. Well, it's blue. It's a British colour, Jeremy. It's
absolutely,
it's part of who we are and what we are.
Listen, my friend, always a pleasure to have you.